All right, everybody. Welcome back to, is it the eighth podcast?
Right.
Yep, 1% Baseball Podcast. I got Garrett and Sean here in the Ameritech Studios. Shout out Andy Jett. And we've got a pretty good, I would say a very good podcast for you guys today, and some big announcements at the end about what's to come in the next week. But agenda for today, we'll talk a little baseball, a little updates, and kind of get into what it means to be a winner. So with that being said, Garrett, Sean, how you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome.
Doing well. Ready to win. Big games this weekend.
Let's go.
Sean's got our quote of the day right here.
Let's see it. All right. So this one, I'm sure a lot of people have heard this. If not, it's a great one. So Michael Jordan said this one: I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and miss. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed.
It's big time.
It's good. And I think we talk a lot, too, about, like, in the training and the team stuff, about, like, not being afraid of failure, right? Especially in a game like baseball where the failure is going to be inevitable. It's almost like whenever you start to think about that, that's when that failure starts to creep in even more, right? So just being able to go after it, be aggressive, and then, like you said, that's why you're successful at the end of the day.
Yep. Kind of where we're at, what we've been doing. We've been practicing with the 13 and 14s, starting to roll, starting to get going. We got our first tournament this weekend, so we're super excited about that. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a wake-up call, kind of get us in the right direction in terms of, where the guys are at individually. And then as a team-wise, like what we got to work on. We can do inter-squads all day long, but until we see live competition, when it matters a little bit more, we'll figure out where that's at. But, getting after the training, ready to go. We got a bunch of guys starting to come in with us. There was a lot of dudes that got cut from their high school team this year. I don't know if it's just because there's hell of a lot of people moving to Texas or what, but tough situation, and that kind of ties in with the quote a little bit. And what we've been doing is something that we offer to guys is, especially those dudes in that situation that have a bulk of time, is writing out yearly training programs for them. So basically lining out an entire year from today all the way until this time next year of like what you should be doing on a day-to-day basis to put yourself in a position when you walk back out to tryouts in the next year to be ready to go and actually be ready to perform. And the biggest thing that we've been seeing, dude, like a lot of these guys that have come in, and like these guys that are in this situation that have come in and said like, hey, we didn't make the team, like will you give us some analysis and tell us what you think? They come in, it's like, dude, the guy looks like a baseball player. It's not like it's terrible. Like it's not anything that's like above and beyond. But they have the look, they play the part. The biggest thing that they're missing is everything that we always talk about is output. They miss the output, they don't have the velo, they don't have the stuff, they move slow, they don't hit the baseball hard.
And they're weak.
They hit, they throw strikes, they do everything that like little league coaches and some select coaches say like, hey, they encourage that. But then they get to high school tryouts and they don't make the team.
Yeah, but like the next thing too is like it's a wake-up call like for everyone. Like, a lot of these dudes that even guys that like we have and train and stuff, even some of the guys that made the team like were like their coaches were not happy with where they were in terms of like just how they performed, right? So it's like we told all these younger guys too, like the 13 and 14s, like look, like a lot of y'all are going to these high schools where it's getting cutthroat.
Yep. I looked at it.
You better start taking this serious. Like if this is what you want to do, because there's no more handouts, right? Like there's no one everyone gets a jersey just because mom and dad want you to play and donated $500.
I was thinking on the way to practice on Tuesday. I was just driving. My mind's always rolling and thinking about crap. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, you know why baseball is not as good as it used to be? It's because it's select baseball. Because that's true, man. Like
so it's your
true.
fault.
Yeah, it's hey, don't come play for us now, I guess. Whatever. It's like baseball's cancer. No, but I mean, like I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, like everybody is entitled, and I think select baseball has bred that entitledness because any kid any kid. You could have never played baseball before in your life. Someone will let you pay them money to play select baseball. And
they've got a spot for you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so I play select baseball is like this entitlement of like, oh, I'm good enough to do anything. I can go play high school baseball.
Well, the next piece is half of these coaches too just tell them what they want to hear, right? So then they get to high school and it's like the coach is like, look, like I'm here to win. Like I'm not here to care so much about you. Frankly, like that's what it is.
High school,
right?
but even high school baseball is even nicer than that. Like, dude, you get to college, like. This is why you see so many guys getting in and out. Like we talked about that two or 3 weeks ago on the podcast. Was like all these guys are getting like they're going in for a year and leaving because it didn't turn out the way that they wanted it to be, and they quit or they get cut.
In a little perspective for the folks listening, San Antonio, New Braunfels, San Marcos, this whole Central Texas, South Central Texas area is one of the fastest growing areas in the country, if not the fastest growing. And so you've got schools that are being built right now that are already at max capacity. You've got schools where kids are having to sit on the floor on buses because there's just not enough room for them. And so that means there's probably not 30 or 40 guys trying out for baseball. It might be 100 kids. And that's varsity and junior varsity. There's no freshman team.
Yep.
And so I think folks need to realize that and understand that when they're trying to prepare. If the goal is for your son or daughter to play a varsity sport, the competition at the high school level is going to be unreal.
You better be legit.
Yeah, you've got to be good. And I think being part of a program, and there's a number of programs out there that are really good, but like Garrett said, there's a number of them. Well, I would say there's more that are not doing these kids any favor. So when you're looking for your program, having an idea, having a plan, a trajectory forward, having a mentality is going to be important because the city's not getting any smaller.
Yeah.
At all.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only getting more exposed this way too with, all of these kids just being so baseball specific or football specific, right? Like even when we were in school, like it was like this a little bit, but you had a lot of these dudes, like your best athletes was the high school quarterback and then went and played point guard on the basketball team and then went through and threw on Friday nights, right? So, but now like you're looking at a lot of these dudes that are devoting their entire offseason to not playing football and getting in the weight room and putting 20 pounds of muscle on, and then you're seeing these velos jump 5, 6, 7 miles an hour in a year. It's becoming tough if you want to be that guy that's playing 2 or 3 sports. So
I think with that said, like it's got to be detailed. Like what you do has to be detailed, and that's kind of where we step in. Because a lot of people don't know what they're doing. That's just the truth. Like I did not know. Like even when I was in college and I started to really take my development serious, I still didn't know what I should be doing day to day. A lot of it, I needed guidance, and that's kind of where we are stepping in with a lot of these parents that like want this service and want us to help them is like, what should we be doing? And it's like, look, man, like it needs to be very detailed from a weightlifting side, from a nutrition side to a throwing and hitting side, right? And you need to have a routine that you go through, but also work through different phases throughout the year. Like these guys that got cut from their high school, they were probably going to go play summer ball. Like, look, man, you got 4 months of free, like this might be the best thing that's ever happened to you. If you can get away from these 4 months, because to be honest, like, dude, you go to high school practice, you stand around for 3 hours. Like, how much better are you actually getting? Like, they're getting better, and I'm not crapping on any coaches or any schools. It's just more so, like, there's so many guys that how much are you actually getting out of that 3 hours? I would say you probably practice for, like, 45 minutes to an hour within that whole time. Whereas, dude, if you got cut, like, don't look at it as a negative, like, you got free time to like legitimately get after it and be detailed. Like get done with school. I'm going to the park. I'm going to these empty fields. I'm going to do my throwing. I'm going to do my hitting. After that, I'm going to go eat. I'm going to go lift. I'm going to eat again, knock out my homework, go to bed, do it again. Whereas these dudes that are sitting at the high school field that, are they getting better? I don't know. They're getting live reps, but are they really getting better? And so, like, if somebody listening is in that situation and needs help with that detailed plan and what that looks like, feel free to reach out because that's where we've been helping a lot of these dudes out.
One thing I noticed you guys talk about a lot in practice and in these podcasts is output. And it's interesting to see the way you guys approach it in that if you're working on a certain drill, that drill has a purpose, right? There's some intent behind that drill. And the intent is not always for you to make the perfect throw the first or to catch the ball or whatever. Sometimes it's about starting with the right foot, getting around the ball, right? Exchanging from the glove to the hand, little things, right? And I think for these kids to get some of that detail early is important because it starts to put together a mentality, right? An ethic, a work ethic to them that helps them really understand why they're able to now throw 70, 75, 80, why they're able to round the bases faster, why they're able to see a ball better off the bat because of these little things. You want to talk a little bit about kind of why you guys do that?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at baseball is super dynamic. It is so dynamic. If you watch everything, like you watch these MLB guys and it looks so easy, but it is beyond dynamic, right? From, like, let's just talk infielders, right? From the dude's prep step to first move off the bat, to getting around the baseball, to fielding the ball in the glove, to getting the ball to center, to breaking the hands and getting the arm in a good position, to throwing the baseball accurately and following your throw with your feet. Like, that's a lot of stuff. There's no...
It all happens like this.
It happens like that. And so if we just say, hey, you got to do everything perfect, it's a lot. There's a lot within that whole frame that I just went through. There's multiple things that you can mess up. And it's not that it was all bad. A lot of it could have been right. But if you mess up one little detail, it's going to end up costing you, maybe not that play, maybe not the next play, but a couple plays down the road is going to get you. And so we've got to be able to let these guys understand, like, I don't need perfection. What I need is for you to understand right now that this is what you have to get better at. Your transfer, you getting the ball to center, your prep step, your follow the throw, your 4-step pattern, your 2-step pattern, like all that stuff has to get focused singularly so that when we go to put it all together, it becomes second nature. Just like when we're throwing for velocity, right? I'm not asking for you to throw strikes. I'm not asking for you to get up there and do everything all at once because it's too much. I need you to do this one thing with your body and not care about anything else so that when we train that enough, it becomes second nature, right? Rather than me sitting there and overcoaching like, oh, you did this, and then next pitch, oh, you threw a ball, you did this, and you missed arm side. Oh, no, your glove side did this, and then, oh, no, you did this. And it's like the kids on the mound going like, well, which one matters?
Yeah.
All right, dude, no, stop. One thing, like simplify it. Simplify everything. When we master that little thing, we'll go on to the next. And that's just what it's got to be. Stop telling every kid and stop telling your kids every single time they make a mistake, giving them something different to think about. Because they're already small-brained and not able to comprehend multiple things at once. Like, keep it absolutely simple and focus on one piece of development for the next 3 weeks. And then move on. Make it new. Hey, okay, you're struggling with this. We're going to lock into that for 3 weeks.
And the biggest thing, too, like, we'll see a lot is, like, whenever we do that and, like, take that approach, like, that, it starts to create that awareness, right? So then, like, we have a guy, the dude, like, he comes and hits with us. He's on the 17U team. Like, his playing scores were atrocious, like, beyond bad in terms of hitting, right? So we kind of went through this whole playing progression just to create some awareness because he's, like, just a tighter wound guy. So, like, he doesn't have as much, like, mobility as what other guys have. So now, like, because we've been on this kind of track for a couple of months now, it not only has it gotten better, but, like, when he does it bad, he's like, I feel it. It's there. Like, I know what it is now, right? And it's like I told the younger guys, too, I'm like, the biggest thing that, like, I want you to be able to take away is we have to be able to create that awareness because, again, like, when you get in the middle of the game, you get in the middle of your at-bat, like, I'm not going to be sitting there, like, telling you what you need to be doing to adjust.
Nor is it going to help.
Exactly.
That makes me vomit when we're watching baseball games and a coach is over there like, hey, you did this, you did that. And it's like, dude, that ain't going to, like, he ain't listening to you. The kid's so, like, in his dome about the guy throwing 75 by him, like, you're not helping, you're just making it worse. But,
so,
yeah, and I think, so, like, I was talking with a couple of the other parents, and they were wondering, you know, why these kids are seeing major league pop-ups off the machine into the lights at night. And so I think the idea there is if you can handle that, right, you can handle anything.
Well, first off, these parents, man, if we slowed the machine down and it was lower pop flies, we wouldn't be catching them because they still can't get to the ball.
No, they with
6 seconds. The ball's in it. Oh, dude, like this. The past 3 weeks I haven't been able to sleep because we can't catch the ball in the freaking air. The ball is in the air for 6 seconds. Like these guys have 60 times that are. Or 40 times, whatever you want to say, they're relative. They're running 60 yards and we can't get 10 with 6 seconds to get underneath the ball. But these parents want me to slow the machine down to make it easier on them. Dude, if I slowed it down more, we'd have 4 seconds. And we're definitely dropping that pop fly.
We'd get exposed even more.
God bless America. Like, we're moving on. We're moving on.
Well,
Stop it.
Big shout out. Myrees Ali Coffer, only 2020 200 teams. He officially committed to Mid-American Christian University in Oklahoma City. We are absolutely thrilled. Man, we're going to have him on the podcast. We're going to have him come talk because some of you need to emulate him. The guy is the most detailed-oriented dude that I know, routine-based. The guy stretches at 6 a.m. every single morning, goes to the weight room in the morning, gets done with school, hits on his own, trains with us, goes back to the gym, stretches again before bed. Like, the dude is just a consistent freak. And he was a little league guy 4 years ago, playing 14, 15U baseball. Like, he was trash. This is the truth. But the dude has put so much work in and has spent the time to truly become a baseball player, and is reaping the benefits. And he just got cut from his high school team. And he's committed to play college baseball. Like, the dude's got it. And that's a little bit of information for y'all too. Going back to that quote is like, you're not limited by what one coach thinks of you. Like, find somebody that believes in you and find somebody that cares and will do the work to put you in a position to be successful. And if you commit to that process, you will get what you want. And this guy's getting what he wants. So
and I think the craziest thing too is kind of going back to what we were talking about a minute ago. Like, it's all about the perception of how you view
yourself.
How do you view yourself, and how do you view like these situations that you find yourself in, right? The day Myrie texted us and told us that like he had gotten cut, I thought, like, I was thinking it was some commitment, whatever it was. Well, I looked down at my phone. He was like, "Hey, I just got cut." And we're like, well, shit. Like, next text was like, well, the grind continues, but 10 times harder. I now have more time to get ready for college baseball.
And there he is.
That's nuts. Yeah. No context on. I mean, I don't want to get too.
Yeah, I mean, there's just it's high school baseball, but yeah, just committed. He commits. He's going to be signing in 2 weeks. We'll kind of put some information out on that if anybody wants to tune into that and watch that, but. He'll be signing.
Hopefully, he does it in the cafeteria in the baseball coach in the audience. Man. Anyway, that's certainly.
We're pumped for him, man.
So you mentioned you guys starting this weekend. What do you expect? What are you looking for? How does this set the tone for the next X amount of weeks?
Yeah. We're ready to play. We need to see it. We need to see it in action. That's what we need to do.
It'll be interesting to see, though, because kind of like what you were saying, we'll see this a lot. Like, a lot of these dudes, like, whether good or bad, like, you'll see the switch flip, like, when you see another team across there. So it'll be interesting to see, like, who the competitors are, like, who tightens up and plays scared and goes from there. Because, I mean, we've seen it in the competitive setting in practice. We've seen it in inter squads, but like once another team gets over there, it'll be interesting to see like who truly wants to dominate.
Yeah, that's just what it comes down to is the want to. It takes time. I've been thinking of that. Like how do you build a winner? Like, can you build a winner? Can you take a kid and turn him into a winner? Or is that something that is just within people and you either have it or you don't? I know I wasn't a winner, and I cultivated that through other people, like Coach Hallmark, coaches that I was around, Coach Martino at Northeast, Coach Knight at Northeast. Like, those guys cultivated me into a winner. I think there was something in there, but I was scared. I was worried to fail. So it's kind of just like, do guys really have it in them, or does it have to be cultivated? do you have it or you don't? You know, it's kind of one of those things. It's kind of odd, but I think that's what we're really going to be watching. That's what I'm going to be watching. We've already talked about that. Like, we're excited just to see who can compete, who can really get in there and compete, no matter the circumstance, and who's the ones that's like, hey, when it's going good, I'm good, and when it's not, like, I look to somebody else. So that's what we see on the pop flies. That's what we see, like, when we're at practice, like, we're looking for somebody else to do it for us. Like, we're looking for someone else to, like, oh, like, he's going to catch that ball. Like, no, dude, like, you go catch it. Like, you be the guy. You be the one.
You know what's crazy? Whenever they start taking that, that's when the pop flies get caught.
Yeah.
When they start taking that ownership. Like, seriously, watch out for that next time.
Yep.
Like, when dudes start taking ownership, calling them early, being aggressive, making the calls, that's when we start catching them.
Yep. I mean, that's what it is.
You know, that Michael Jordan quote, it almost, he credits his success to failure. And it's almost like if he knew he was failing, he was at least getting the reps to improve himself, right? And so you're going to see kids, you're going to have your starting nine on all your teams, and you're going to see mistakes. What sort, early on and as the season progresses, what gets a kid yanked? What gets the next man up his opportunity? Sometimes coaches have, their pet rocks and they keep them in there, and kid can do no wrong, 3 or 4 errors, and they're still starting it short or wherever, they're still in the lineup. What do you guys look for? What do you guys see? Is the leash longer for others? And if so, why? What's your mentality behind that? And this is for parents to understand kind of that mentality.
It's everywhere. I mean, I think this is anybody playing any team, not even just ours. Like, you need to know what the coach is looking for, so that you can go home and tell your kids, like, hey, dude, like, if you're not playing, this is why. I think that right there kind of leads into kind of our talk of the day, like, what is a winner? What is a winner to us? And to me, it's the mentality has to be right. Like, your mental game has to be right. You got to be a guy that's checked in 24/7. Like, you got to be on the baseball field. Outside, when we go to Hooters after the games, and we win a championship, and we do whatever. Like, dude, I don't care what you do. You like, you ain't my son. Like, I don't care. But, like, on the baseball field, like, I need you checked in. And so, like, I was thinking about this. I told the 14s this. I said, there's 2 guys on our team right now, 2 on the 14s, that they will play every single day. Multiple components. They can hit. They predominantly, over the past 2 years and 4 seasons, have hit, historically. Like, they've been the top 2 guys on our team. The next is they field the position really well, and I can trust them in the field, and I know that they're going to be in position probably 90% of the time in any situation, and they both pitch, and they dominate on the mound for us. They will be in the lineup every day, right? And they blow everybody else out of the water on a hitting side. And so, like, those dudes that are kind of in that center mix, the average to not the best, here's how you get on the field. You know the situations. You communicate well. You talk to your teammates and you tell them where to be, where you're going to be. Hey, this is the situation. Like, I'm the cut here. If the ball's hit there, I'm staying here. You're going there. Like, that type of communication. There are guys that are going to lay out for baseballs and play hard-nosed baseball, right? They're going to dive. They're going to put their body on the line to protect the 90 feet, and then they're going to be able to run the bases exceptionally. Like, that for us has to be a piece in our game that has to be perfect. And if I can't trust you or you're not aggressive on the bases, like, you're not going to play, right? Especially when it matters. Because, like, for us, like, those average guys in the box, like, they're going to get walked. They're all going to strike out. They're all not going to get hits, right? One guy might have a better game than another guy. But at the end of the day, like, about the same amount we're going to be getting on the base paths. Like, are you able to produce when you're there? Or are you going to stand at first base and wait for me to, like, literally have to, like, walk you to second base to try to steal? So,
wait for the double off the wall and take second base. I think something that I kind of learned whenever I was in high school, I played for a very, very, very good high school coach, just as a baseball man and then just as a person in general. And one of the things that, like, he kind of instilled in a lot of us in terms of, like, winning, what is the mentality of a winner, is just, like, the older you get, like, just finding ways to help your team win, right? Like, it sounds cliche, like people say it all the time, but he's like, if you drop, like, he goes, if you break this game into parts in terms of, like, base running, hitting, and defense, right? you can't expect yourself to go 3 for 4 every single day. It ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like hitting's too hard, especially at higher levels, to be able to do that. So it's just not gonna happen. Right. So the main thing is like you go back to like defense and base running, like finding ways within that, finding little ways to be able to help your team win. Right. It may be something as easy as like being able to take a dirt ball read to second base to put yourself the winning run and scoring position. Right. Just finding different things like that you can always be able to help produce and help your team win.
Yep.
Because again, like it just goes back to being able, like you said, like making sure the mentality is right, like being able to flip the switch, right? Like I had a horse shit at bat and got punched out at 3 take fastballs, right? Now am I going to be able to go play defense, go make a play for the guy on the mound, and then throw the guy out at first? Like that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ability to be checked in, right? To be present, right? I think that's where winter starts. Is like you're present and in the moment. We can't ask, and I've noticed that I can't even ask the 17s to be checked in for an entire 2-hour game. But when the pitch is going, like when the pitcher steps on the rubber and he delivers the pitch, like I need to be prepared before that pitcher like starts to move. When the ball is done, there's no play. The play's over. You have like 15 seconds until that next pitch. You can check out, but you got to be able to be checked in whenever like pitcher steps on the rubber and it's go time, right? Brian Kane talks a lot about that, who we talked about a little bit about whenever we came back from Chicago. He spoke there about like that ability to check in and out and always be present when it's that moment. But, to me, like the mentality of a winner, like we say it a lot, and it's not super easy to describe all the time, especially to kids to comprehend it. It's like, dude, like the aggressor is what we're looking for. Are you an aggressor or are you somebody that waits? Are you somebody that lets the game come to you? Like, dude, you got to take what you want out of this life. Like, you can't sit and wait for nothing. Like, if you want to be successful, like, you got to be a go-getter and go get it done. And it's the same on the baseball field. Like, do you get in the box and you take 2 cock-shot fastballs for strike 1, strike 2, and then swing it and break them all in the dirt? Or do you get in there and say, hey, if I get a fastball right here on strike number 1, I'm getting my absolute best hack off, right? That's a competitor to me. A dude that wants to do it. A guy that's gritty and just steps in the box and is willing to do whatever it takes to, like, win, right? Gray Bruner, another guy that will play for us almost every single day on the 14 team. Like, dude, that guy got, like, hit by pitch, like, 13 times in the spring last year, right? Like, it was basically once a game he was getting hit is what it seemed like. And, like, the dude wanted it. He didn't care. Like, he wasn't up there being selfish about, like, oh, I'm going to get out of the way of this pitch so I can have no bat speed and, like, roll over a ground ball and get thrown out at first. Like, he wanted to be on the base paths, and then when he would get on first, guess what he's doing? Stealing first, pitch to second. Then he's taking third. And then pass ball scoring 4 pitches is like he wants to win, and that's what we want. And so I think really like the mentality of a winner, a guy that wants to win is somebody that gets the fear of making mistakes out of the way. Get that out of the way. If you have in your head, like talk to your kids about this. I think parents should talk about this more because my dad never did. He would just like tell me what I did right and wrong. You know why I did a lot of things wrong in the game of baseball growing up?
Because people told you did them wrong.
Because I was worried. Mm-hmm. You know what my dad should talk to me about? Like, why are you scared? Like, why are you worried so much about making a mistake? Because, like, dude, you're playing 14 baseball. What does this game freaking matter? Like, this game, like, you messing up, like, what does it really mean?
Yeah, like we've said it before, like, if your goal is to play college baseball and you're 12 to 14, even 15, like, no one's recruiting you.
There's nothing.
Like, there is nothing that you should be just so worried about. Like, I told a kid on Tuesday, we were at practice, I said, the only thing I want you focused on here when we do this drill is just being aggressive. I said, regardless of what happens, where you throw this baseball, just be aggressive and don't worry about failure. And it's the best we've seen him look the entire time. Looked like a completely different player just by being aggressive.
Free it up, baby.
Yeah, if you can eliminate the mistakes, right? Minimize minimize the mistakes, and that's something the kids can control, right? They can control that fear. They can get over that fear. I know it's tough, probably, but there is a way to get them to be more vocal. That's not something that's reserved for an elite athlete. Anybody can develop a mindset, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think this is all great. This is all good stuff for parents to take home to talk with their student athlete about, and for the kids that listen, the baseball players, baseball and softball players that listen, for them to consider, right, in trying to achieve that next step in their journey. But we're just got a couple minutes left. I know we've got some big stuff to talk about. A big surprise coming up next week. Garrett, you want to talk about that and what we can look forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. JYD himself, University of Texas at San Antonio head baseball coach, Coach Hallmark, coming to
What's up, baby?
Be on the podcast, baby. We're pumped. Man, it's going to be a really good one. It's going to be an opportunity just to hear, honestly, a lot of our stuff that we talk about and what we do, like, come from the guy we got a lot of it from. That dude has absolutely changed my life. Like, he's going to be he's going to be a figure in my life forever that I can look to and go to. Just because of what he instilled in me in the 2 years that I was with him and just getting to listen. So he's going to bring a lot of baseball stuff, but I think we're going to talk a lot about the same thing that we talked about today. Because that was the one thing that I saw different whenever he came in, was it was a completely different mentality than I'd ever seen before in my life. So
you were there during the transition.
I was there when the transition happened, and I stayed after the transition. We'll probably talk about that whenever the time. We'll probably intro the podcast with talking about that transition and the ass chewing I got from Coach Hallmark day one, basically, when he came in. But he holds guys accountable to the nth degree, and that is why wherever he goes, he is going to be successful, especially once he finds his, like, whether it's UTSA or wherever else they go. Like, when he finds his home and he's able to be there for 10 years, like, wherever that is at, he will win, because he just holds dudes to another level. Like, he doesn't let anything go unseen or unheard or unspoken about. Like, he will tell you, but then the next thing he's going to love the shit out of you. Like,
but the next piece, too, is it's not like he's just doing that to the players. Like, it's assistant coaches. It's everyone.
It's the trainer.
And it's like,
everybody.
It gets to the point to where it's like, man, like, like, you show up to practice, and it's like, if I'm not, like, locked in, ready to go, like, I could potentially, like, get cut today or lose my starting job.
Yep.
Like, it is that, like, cutthroat when he's around. But there's a video where they did talking about Augie Garrido and kind of, like, the impact that he had on, like, his players. And Houston Street was talking about it. And he goes, like, a lot of people, like, there's this misconception, like, this idea of, like, how he is. But he goes, the players that come in that truly get it, that understand, like, why he is the way he is, like, fall in love with it. Like, you couldn't imagine, like, yourself being around anyone else. Yep. Like, once you really understand, like, the madness and, like, the idea behind why they do the things they do and stuff like that.
We're going to get him to talk about JYD, too. We'll get he's the original JYD guy, so we'll get him to describe it, what it means to him and stuff. So it'll be a cool podcast just to hear. Especially, a lot of these parents know his boys, and obviously through baseball and stuff, and he's a big person in the community, so it'll be a good person to kind of listen to and hear some of the same stuff that we talk about. Other than that, big weekend. We're going to go win, going to go compete. We'll come back with some notes and talk about some stuff. We'll probably have some situations that came up this weekend, which we will use, pop flies, and we'll see if we catch them. We're going to see if we catch them. Other than that, buy our merch. Do we 1%? He's got the hat on. We're going to get some jackets. We're going to get some other hats, some shirts. We'll start putting that up. We're going to have a website going pretty soon here, too, to where a lot of this stuff is going to be getting posted, too. And we're going to have, like, an online platform where it'll be kind of like a membership thing. And we're going to do some we talked about it the other week, but we're going to do some competitions. What is the phrase?
Yeah, we'll do some group competitions. Some
what is it called? I'm missing the word.
I don't know.
It's like a competition. It's not a competition though. It's like the
incentives.
No, it's not an incentive. Whatever. Like it's gonna be like a contest. There we go. It's gonna be a contest. Yeah. Yes, so it'll be like we'll come up with some stuff. We'll do some. We'll write out programs and stuff.
I'm a journalism major.
Yeah, there we go. We'll write some programs, and you got to be a member to be able to do the contest. Whoever wins the contest, we're gonna be handing out stuff like bats, handing out merch, free stuff. It's just gonna be a way for us to kind of get a community going. And just developing the city of San Antonio into better baseball players. But yeah, you want some merch, you want some of this stuff, buy it. comment, right? Comment to this post on Facebook. Subscribe to YouTube. Like the video on YouTube and comment on YouTube. If you do that, we're going to put a link in. We're going to pick a winner next week, and we'll have a 1% hat and 1% jacket that we will hand out to you or send to you if we can't come see you. So, yeah.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you guys. I hope this was helpful for everybody, and we'll see you next week with Mr. UTSA Baseball, Coach Hallmark.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir.
Be a winner, baby. Go win it.